Alright, welcome back. Part 2. Alright, we're going to change out this tool. We're going to put our radius tool in there. We're going to cut a radius. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this tool out. Wipe that off. Put that up on the rack. Wipe this out. Now, I want this to be pretty square. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfectly square, but I want it to be pretty square. And I also want to make sure I got enough room to go in and cut my radius and not hit my center. Which it looks like there should be more than enough room. And I don't want to stick out too long, because the longer the tool sticks out, the more I get chatter. So we'll tighten this up. I'm going to back the center out for a second. And I just want to make sure the tip of this radius tool is right with the tip of that. Pretty close to on center. And it's pretty good. It's a little bit off. We'll pick it up just a little bit. That's not bad. I'd rather have it just a little low than high. The other thing is I want this square, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to use the side of my chuck to square this up. And all I'm doing is I'm looking down the side of that chuck. At that tool, and I'm making sure it's pretty straight, and it is. It's pretty straight. There is a little bit of a gap right at the end, and that's because the tool has a little bit of relief on the end. This is a 1/2 inch tool. It's not quite a 1/4 inch radius. It's a little bit smaller. So that actually looks good. Okay. So, get you back out here. So like we said before, I have to come in 560 to the side of that tool. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to touch off. Okay? I'm going to go get my mag indicator. On here, and I'm going to move it in 560. Okay, so like I said before, this is 50,000, so I got to go 560. So I'm going to have to go at least 11 turns and a little bit more. Alright, so I back this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 500, 50, and then 10, 60. And with this one, I'm going to actually lock the carriage. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to lock this carriage so it can't move on me. I'm also going to come over here and just take a peek at this. And it looks pretty good. Alright. Again, we're going to bring our center in. And we're going to go down low to about 150, 160. So that's GKP, G, P, and K. Alright. Let's take a peek at that. Looks good. Probably should have polished this up before, because this is going to be such a small area right here. When I go to try and polish that later, what's going to happen is going to try and round it over on me. So let's actually polish that right now. Give it a quick little polish. Alright, what are we on? GLP. That's pretty good. A little piece of emery cloth. Pretty good. I probably took the 2000s, probably right around 1 now. Alright, so we're ready. We're going to drop this down. And we're at GKP, which is 160. And we're going to cut this radius. Now this radius needs to go in. We'll measure this. The radius needs to go in. Make sure these are on 0. Right around 690, 695, somewhere around there. Okay. All right. So we're locked. We're ready to go. Take this out of here. Up good. I'll bring you in tight so you can see this. I'll get you a little bit more viewing area. Alright, let's take a peek. Cleans up right there. I'm going to come in and get a measurement. I'm going to set this to 0. And I'm going to take a measurement. I still got a ways to go, but. We say it was 790. I got 890. All right, we wanted 790, right? That's a nice number. Yep. So I got to go 100 thousandths. Wow, could have made that better. Yep, 890. We got to go 100 thousandths. All right, here we go. Chatter, but it's not too bad. I'm 100 right now. I'm going to let that chatter clean up. A little bit of chatter lines in there, but we'll get rid of those. Let's see what we got. That's 800. I gotta go a little bit more. Make sure this is tight. Let's go a little bit more. I'm actually going to drop this a little bit. That's something, if you hit it just below the center line, sometimes the chatter will get a little better. I'm going to go another 10. Some of that noise is the knurl. It's cutting into the knurl on the side. Alright, see what we got. $796. I'll go a little bit more. There is absolutely no chatter in that at all. $789. Beautiful. Perfect. All right. Now, a lot of times, especially a long time ago, we wouldn't have been using a dial vernier, or a dial caliper I should say. This one's a digital caliper. To measure that, what we would do is we would set a set of outside calipers. We'd set them to the size we wanted, and then as we were cutting, we would just feel it until it slipped on, and that would be good enough. Okay, and you'd be within a few thousandths. Alright, so that looks good. The next thing we need to do is we need to drill and tap. And like I said, this is 3/8/16, even though the print says 5/16/18. I'm not sure why why I wrote that, but it is 3/8/16. So let's set up the tap. Alright, so we're going to clean this up. Pull this out. I'm going to take this out. Wipe it off. And there's a little tang you gotta line up. Alright. Take this out. .3/8/16. The tap drill for 3/8/16 is like 3/16. This is right yeah, this is real. I think this is 3/20. It's close enough. Officially for what we're doing. We're going to come in and we're going to make sure the tap goes all the way through the part. So here we go. We're going to cheat. I'm going to come over here and we're just going to put a little mark on it. Alright. We're going to speed this up a little bit. JKP. Rotate that around so I can see my mark. Make sure you keep clearing the chips. Last thing we want to do is snap a drill off in this thing. This is pretty machinable material too. This is what they call 12L14, which has got a lot of lead content in it, and it machines really nice. It's pretty strong material. I mean, it's not like 4140 or something like that, but this is holding a 10 guard on, so it's not like I need a 10 grade nut on here. Close to where I want to be. Now we got a tap. Alright, we want this tap to be nice and straight. Alright, so that over here. Whatever you do, don't wipe your hands with this. All the chips in it. Alright, so we're going to set up a spring-loaded tap follower. So basically this goes in the chuck here. Snug that up. Let's see, we need a tap handle. Use the old Starrett 93. We are not going to power tap this because it is a blind hole and I don't want to risk hitting the bottom and shattering the tap. So by doing this, so So by using the spring-loaded one, you're going to push this, you're going to keep it all parallel with the center line of the spindle, so everything's going to come out nice. I'll lock this, load that up, and then we're going to go in. Every once in a while, break that chip. Keep putting spring pressure on there. I'm just going to go in till it stops. This stuff taps like a dream. Alright, we hit bottom. This out of the way. Now, a couple more things before we finish this off. Number one, I want to make sure that my thickness here isn't too thick. I'm going to come over here, line it up, and it looks a little thicker than the ones that I've been making. So, kind of get kind of like a measurement here. Yeah, that's around 100 thousandths. Yeah, they're about 95. See what the other one is. They run in between 95 and 100. This one looks a little bit thicker. Yeah, it's about 120. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off. I don't like it being that fat. So bring this in. Take this off. Put this cutter on. I'm going to take about 20 thousandths off. Over here. Now that one's got, it's not that straight, so I'm going to offset this a little bit. Come in and I'm going to touch that. Set a 0. I'm going to come in 20 thousandths. I'll lock my carriage and I'm going to skim it. Alright. Before we for speed, HLM. We're going to go up to JLM. Much better. And I'm right around 103. I'm good with that. Alright. Now the last thing we got to do, well, two more things we got to do, is if we look at the original, you might not be able to see it on this because it's black. It's got a pretty good countersink in there. I'm going to put a countersink in there. Show you on this one, you might see it a little bit better because it's shiny. It's not painted black. Take a countersink. I get it out of the holder. And we're just going to do this one by eye till we get what we want. Put it in the tailstock, and we're going to come up and give that a nice chamfer. Tighten that up. I'm going to drop that down to like HLM. A little slower. I'm just going to eyeball it till they look similar. Looks pretty good. Now we're going to give it some speed, polish it up a little bit. Let's do like GLP. Use kind of a piece of worn emery. Soften the edges a little bit, polish it up, looks nice. One thing you don't want to do, sandpaper or stuff like that just falls off, but that knurl will grab this rag and suck it right in with your fingers. Alright, so now we got to pot it off, meaning cut it off. So we're going to need a parting tool. Where's the putting tool? There it is. Let's get rid of this. Wipe this off. Put this back. So we're going to use a parting tool. And a parting tool is just a blade. It's going to cut that off rather than using a hacksaw or a bandsaw. But again, like the others, we want to make sure it's going in straight. So I'm going to line it up in the center of the chuck. It's not critical measurement, but we want it close because I tilted this off. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to line up with that chuck. That looks pretty good. If I wanted this perfect, I could put a dial indicator and indicate it in. But this is more than good enough. So once again, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go far into touch off because if you hit touch off on just the end, these are a little flexible. So I come in, just touch that. Grab my indicator, put it down here. Set it to 0. You got a chip on there. Much better. Alright. So if we look at our dimension, it says 1 inch from end to end. Okay? So, 50 thousandths, we're going to have to go a whole inch over here. 20 revolutions. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, it's half an inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now this is a 1-inch travel, so I'm going to give it a little bit more room. So we're on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll lock this down. Take this off. And we're going to take a peek at this. See what it looks like. Oh, geez. Almost made a big mistake. See, now you know why you do that. I didn't count the thickness of the cutoff tool. So, I think I did that. But, that's why I usually check it with a scale, 6-inch scale or something. Yeah, it's 126. So let's go another 126. So 50, 100, 25, 25. Should be close enough. So, once again, checking this real quick, make sure that you're doing it right. Put this right here. That looks good. Or we can check it with the scale, which we want about 1 inch. Okay? Alright. So, we're ready to part it off. Let's get rid of this center over here, this chamfering tool. And we're going to put a metal rod in here. And we're going to cut this off. This is just going to hold it so once it gets cut off, it doesn't go flying and get all dented up. Alright. We got to cut this off slow, so GKP, so GKP, 160. There we go. Put this locked. Closer. In a small lathe can be challenging. It likes to chatter a lot. This lathe's like 3,000 pounds, so it's got quite a bit of rigidity to it. feed, cut it off, but why rush it? Good, man. Bingo. Alright. Now, as you can see, oops. We're not done yet. There's got to be a little bit of a crown on there. So we'll take care of that when we come back in part 3.